Book bans, quite the hot topic in Florida school districts these days, and tonight we found out just how many books have been removed from school libraries.
NI team investigator Katie Legrone reveals what she found and why some fear the worst of school book challenges is still to come.
On a recent Tuesday night,
It's not a healthy book to have on the library shelf.
in Polk County,
When we start taking away our children and our First Amendment rights,
more than a dozen people gathered in a meeting room to discuss
Kids are already interested in those things.
books.
Any wealth of knowledge, I believe, which is appropriate to be viewed, should be made accessible to all students.
But a book club, this is not.
I just don't see that it's an appropriate library book.
Instead, these are members of the school district's recently formed book review committees, a voluntary group of educators, parents, community members, and students reading, reviewing, and offering their opinions over whether books that were available to students in some school libraries violate state law for being too sexually explicit or obscene for minors.
I represent County Citizens Defending Freedom.
Kathy Bucklew is among the district's voluntary book reviewers.
Do you have a child in the school district?
Not now.
To date, these committees are reviewing 16 books in question, challenged by Bucklew's group, whose mission is to equip and empower American citizens to stand for and preserve freedom for themselves and future generations.
There are so many options for students that are so positive. Why do we have to keep 16 books that are questionable?
Because they talk about sex, you're saying?
Well, not just because they talk about sex, it's how they talk about sex.
So far, 6 books have been reviewed by the committees, with the vast majority of members voting not to ban them or even change which grade level have access to them.
This is the kind of stuff that matters to me personally.
16-year-old Santiago Duarte reviewed this book, It's Perfectly Normal. Aimed at children 10 and older, it's a frequent target of book bans for its descriptions of puberty, sex, and relationships, along with illustrations, including those of the LGBTQ community.
It's a cartoon, it's harmless, and I disagree that it's a form of indoctrination or there's an agenda behind it. These are just normal people just like you and me.
Across the country, the number of books challenged last year to libraries, schools, and universities reached 729, a record according to the American Library Association. And across the state, we found most school districts are not being deluged with book challenges and bans. We polled Florida's 67 school districts starting in February. Of 45 school districts that responded to our requests, 7 districts reported book challenges, with most challenged over just a few books. Polk County's 16 book challenges are one of the highest. But Indian River County Schools has had by far the most of districts that reported to us. 156 books challenged by conservative moms group Moms for Liberty. One of its founders is a resident. But like most districts facing book challenges, Indian River School Board barely budged, deciding to only remove 5 of the 156 books challenged. Moms for Liberty is now appealing.
Doesn't that give you, I guess, comfort for the future?
no.
Jen Cousins and Stefana Farrell founded Florida Freedom to Read Project after Orange County schools received a few book challenges. To date, just one, genderqueer, has been removed from school libraries.
The problem is we just pass laws that don't speak for the majority of parents and definitely don't speak for the majority of students.
Those laws include new training for school librarians, an opening for parent lawsuits, and a public review period for all instructional material, including library books, before a district includes them.
That ongoing pressure to either not put a book on the shelf in the first place, to not bring up a topic in the classroom, or to just pull something that gets challenged to the point where it says this violates law, and just quickly pull it and remove it.
This book is selective to pick up as a student.
Back in Polk County, the future of 16 books will ultimately rest with the school board, but not without this team of book reviewers offering their own words in person and on paper.
Children need things that are positive, not entertain or be involved in introductory pornography.
If you're reading a book and you're digging through looking for just anything sexual, I honestly feel like you're the problem.
Next here tonight to book bans and who's really behind them. This past school year, school districts across the country received more book challenges from parents and residents than ever before. In Florida alone, hundreds of complaints were filed to districts questioning books available in classrooms and libraries. So our I-Team wanted to learn more about the people behind these challenges and how they're now changing policies in school libraries across the state of Florida. I-Team investigative journalist Katie Legrone here with the story.
From a pandemic to politics, mask mandates to the critically dubbed Don't Say Gay bill. This year, the rights of Florida students and what happens in their classrooms became battles for the history books.
We're formally challenging over 100 books,
with books fueling some of the most passionate fights.
Distribute sexually explicit material. This is not about not teaching history.
I'm so tired of begging because I'm seeing this filth.
In data we obtained from responding districts, Florida school districts received in total around 300 formal library book challenges this past year, most over books accused of being too sexually explicit for students. Promoting religious-level social justice propaganda, one complainant emailed, or ultimately to push homosexuality. Dale Galliano described in her challenge to St. Lucie schools back in January.
I don't think that an 8-year-old needs to know about sodomy, rape, incest.
Of the 17 book challenges submitted to the district last year, Galliano was behind every one of them.
Who are you and why do you care?
I'm a widow. Why I care is because these kids are my future. And it's the future of this country.
So you've challenged books that you have not read.
I've read impartial.
Currently, right now, we have 41 books we've given you for review.
While we did find some parents, including Moms for Liberty members, behind dozens of other formal challenges, Galliano is among prolific challengers who filed complaints about books available at school without having any children of her own enrolled in one.
I feel that the Lord needs to have his children taken care of, and I got picked because I took it seriously.
Galliano explains she also got picked after attending a meeting hosted by the Florida Citizens Alliance, a conservative nonprofit that believes America's public education system is failing. On its website, the group claims Florida children are being indoctrinated in a school system that undermines their rights and destroys the nation's founding principles and family values.
Do you have any children of your own in the public school system?
No, my wife and I have never had children.
Keith Flaw is a founder.
You have not read all of the books that you've challenged.
No.
Flaw claims he started questioning the appropriateness of some novels in school libraries before the pandemic.
Do you have any special expertise that makes you more qualified to be able to make decisions on what should be challenged?
I view myself as a constitutional person.
His organization is also a frequent book challenger, with formal complaints filed in about a dozen districts throughout the state, including all 16 challenges submitted in Polk County using this group template form filled out for other counties. But despite all these book challenges, only a fraction resulted in schools permanently removing books from school library shelves. Still, they had an impact as we discover more school districts are now adjusting their library policies to give parents control over what their kids can and can't check out. In Indian River County, which received the most book challenges, the district let parents choose the level of books their children could access, though few took advantage, according to a district spokesperson. Other districts have apps letting parents see what their child checks out. And some districts, including Sarasota, Polk, and Orange County, are spending the summer revising their library policies for students. As for these challengers,
we believe that we're waking up parents and giving them some tools to get a better education for their children.
To those who say respectfully again, Grandma, get out of the way, what do you say to them?
I'm here, I'm staying.
And beginning July 1st, a new law takes effect that will make it easier for people to challenge books in the school library. Critics are concerned this could result in more challenges or leave districts unwilling to put some books on the library shelves to begin with. I'm Katie Legrone reporting.